The emergency room was chaos that night. Nurses rushed between patients, doctors barked orders, and the fluorescent lights buzzed overhead like angry wasps. In the middle of it all stood Sarah Mitchell, a 28-year-old nurse who had seen more trauma in her 5 years at Metropolitan General than most people see in a lifetime. She was checking vitals on a gunshot victim when the doors burst open. 6 men in dark suits stormed in, their faces stern, their movements precise and coordinated. They weren't hospital security. They moved like soldiers, like predators. Sarah's instincts kicked in immediately. Something was very wrong. Behind them, supported by 2 more men in suits, was a woman. She wore a simple grey dress, her hair pulled back tight, her face pale and sweating. Blood seeped through a makeshift bandage on her shoulder. The woman's eyes darted around the emergency room, fear evident in every glance. The lead agent, a tall African-American man with silver at his temples, stepped forward. His hand rested on something beneath his jacket. Sarah recognized the telltale bulge of a weapon. "We need a private room," he said. His voice was calm but carried an unmistakable edge of authority. "Now." Sarah's supervisor, Dr. Reynolds, appeared from behind a curtain. He took one look at the situation and nodded. "Room 7. It's isolated." The men moved as one unit, surrounding the injured woman like a human shield. Sarah grabbed her medical kit and followed. She had no idea who these people were, but someone was hurt, and that was all that mattered. Inside room 7, the atmosphere was suffocating. The 6 agents positioned themselves around the room, 2 at the door, 2 by the window, 2 flanking the bed where the woman now sat. Sarah approached slowly, her hands visible, her movements non-threatening. "I'm Sarah. I'm going to help you," she said to the woman. "Can you tell me what happened?" The woman opened her mouth to speak, but the lead agent cut her off. "Gunshot wound. Through and through. Upper left shoulder. That's all you need to know." Sarah's jaw tightened. She'd dealt with difficult family members before, overprotective spouses, worried parents. But this was different. These men weren't family. They were guards. Or captors. She couldn't tell which. She began examining the wound. The bullet had indeed passed through, missing major arteries by centimeters. Lucky. But the woman was going into shock, her skin clammy, her pulse rapid and weak. "I need to clean this and stop the bleeding," Sarah said. "She needs fluids and probably antibiotics. This could get infected." "Do what you need to do," the lead agent said. "But understand this. No one else comes in this room. No questions asked. No police reports filed. Are we clear?" Sarah looked him straight in the eye. "I'm a nurse. My job is to treat patients, not follow orders from people who won't even tell me who they are." The room went silent. The other agents shifted, their hands moving toward their weapons. Sarah's heart pounded, but she didn't back down. She'd seen too much intimidation in her life to be scared now. The lead agent studied her for a long moment, then surprised her by smiling slightly. "Fair enough. I'm Agent Marcus Hayes, United States Secret Service. This woman is Ambassador Catherine Zhao. 2 hours ago, there was an assassination attempt at a diplomatic function downtown. We got her out, but not before she took a roundment for someone else." Sarah's eyes widened. Secret Service. Ambassador. This was bigger than anything she'd ever dealt with. But it didn't change her job. "Okay," she said. "But I still need to treat her properly. That means standard medical procedures. If you want her to survive, you let me do my job." Agent Hayes nodded. "Agreed. But my men stay in position." Sarah worked quickly and efficiently. She cleaned the wound, administered pain medication, started in 4 for fluids and antibiotics. The ambassador remained mostly silent, occasionally wincing when Sarah had to probe deeper into the wound. As Sarah worked, she noticed something odd. The ambassador's hands were trembling, not just from shock or pain, but from something else. When Sarah reached out to stabilize her arm, the ambassador flinched violently. "It's okay," Sarah said softly. "I'm just trying to help." The ambassador's eyes filled with tears. "They won't let me call my family. My daughter. She's only 12. She'll be terrified." Agent Hayes stepped forward. We've been over this. Any communication could compromise your location. Once we secure the safe house, we'll arrange contact." "She's a child," the ambassador shot back, her voice breaking. "She needs to know I'm alive." The tension in the room escalated. Sarah could feel it, thick and oppressive. She continued working, her mind racing. Something about this situation felt wrong. The Secret Service was supposed to protect, not isolate. Why wouldn't they let her make one phone call? Then Sarah saw it. As she adjusted the four, her hand brushed against the ambassador's wrist. There were marks there, faint but unmistakable. Bruises. Old ones. And when the ambassador moved, Sarah caught a glimpse of similar marks on her other arm. Her medical training kicked in. Those weren't from tonight's attack. Those were restraint marks. Days old, maybe weeks. Sarah's blood ran cold. She glanced at the 6 agents surrounding them. They all wore the same stern expression, the same watchful stance. But now it looked less like protection and more like imprisonment. She kept her voice steady, professional. "Ambassador, I need to check your vitals again. Can you hold out your arms for me?" The ambassador hesitated, then complied. Sarah examined both wrists carefully, noting the pattern of bruising. She'd seen marks like this before, on domestic violence victims, on patients who'd been restrained against their will. "Agent Hayes," Sarah said carefully, "I need to ask you something. When was the ambassador last given a full medical examination?" "That's classified information," he replied. "It's not classified if I'm her treating physician right now," Sarah countered. "These bruises suggest she's been restrained. They're several days old. That doesn't match your story about an attack 2 hours ago." The room went deadly quiet. The agents exchanged glances. Agent Hayes's expression hardened. "Nurse Mitchell, you're overstepping your bounds." "Am I?" Sarah stood her ground. "Because from where I'm standing, this doesn't look like protection. It looks like detention." The ambassador suddenly grabbed Sarah's hand. "Please," she whispered. "They're not Secret Service. They're taking me somewhere. I don't know where. I tried to escape tonight. That's when I got shot." Everything clicked into place. The coordinated movements. The refusal to let anyone else in. The isolation. These men were too organized to be kidnappers, but they weren't legitimate law enforcement either. Sarah's mind raced. She was trapped in a room with 6 armed men and a woman who desperately needed help. Her phone was in her pocket, but she'd never be able to call for help without them noticing. "I need to get more supplies from the storage room," Sarah said, keeping her voice level. "I'll be right back." "One of my men will accompany you," Agent Hayes said. "Hospital policy. Only authorized medical personnel in the supply areas. Contamination risk." It was a lie, but she said it with such confidence that Hayes hesitated. That moment of hesitation was all Sarah needed. She walked out of the room, one of the agents trailing behind her. Her mind worked frantically. She needed help, but she couldn't risk the ambassador's life by acting rashly. As they reached the supply room, Sarah grabbed her phone and quickly texted Dr. Reynolds. "Room 7 not Secret Service. Patient in danger. Call real police. Silent approach." She deleted the message immediately after sending, then grabbed supplies and turned back to the agent. "Got everything. Let's go." When they returned to room 7, Sarah continued treating the ambassador, but her hand shook slightly. She'd done all she could. Now she had to wait and hope Dr. Reynolds understood the urgency. 15 minutes later, she heard it. Soft footsteps in the hallway. Multiple sets. The agents heard it too. They tensed, hands moving to weapons. Then the door burst open. Real Secret Service agents, identified by proper credentials, along with FBI agents and hospital security. The 6 imposters reached for their weapons, but they were outnumbered and outmaneuvered. Federal agents. Hands up. Now. What followed was a blur of action. The fake agents were disarmed and restrained. The real Secret Service immediately secured the ambassador. Paramedics rushed in to continue Sarah's treatment. Agent Hayes, now in handcuffs, looked at Sarah with something like respect. "You're either very brave or very stupid, nurse." "I'm just doing my job," Sarah replied. Later, after giving her statement to investigators, Sarah learned the full story. The 6 men were part of a foreign intelligence operation attempting to kidnap Ambassador Zhao. They'd infiltrated the security detail and used the chaos of a staged assassination attempt to extract her. The real Secret Service had been searching frantically when Sarah's alert came through. The ambassador survived and was reunited with her daughter. Sarah received commendations from multiple agencies, though she insisted she'd only done what any nurse would do. But on quiet nights in the ER, when she sees patients surrounded by too many guards, when something feels just slightly wrong, Sarah remembers that night. She remembers that sometimes saving a life means more than medical skill. Sometimes it means trusting your instincts, standing your ground, and refusing to look away when everything in you says something is wrong. That's what heroes do. Not because they're fearless, but because when the moment comes, they choose to act anyway.